Welcome to episode 3 of the Uncommon Woman video series. Stories of women who live empowered lives despite the risk, the pain, and the odds. Shannon Miller is an uncommon woman whose daughter was tragically killed at a house party in 2014 along with 4 other kids. Through her darkness and pain, Shannon is determined to shine her light brighter for others to find their way through their darkest hours. Be inspired. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Uncommon Woman video series. And I'm so excited and honored and just grateful to have my very dear friend and soul sister, Shannon Miller, here with us today. Shannon, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Marla. Thanks for inviting me. I'm so honored.
No, you know that I love, you and I are good at this. I was just saying, we've done a lot of interviews. We've talked so much because I just find that you're such a bright light and you're just such an inspiration to me personally. And I know that you're an inspiration to so many other people. And so, it's just an honor to have you here sharing your story, because I know that this is a painful story. And this is the whole point of the Uncommon Woman, right? Is to bring women kind of out from behind that curtain and just say, yeah, this stuff is hard, but let's talk. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you so much for, making the time and sharing the sacred space with me, and for all of the women who are going to press play and learn from you.
My pleasure.
So I love that we can sit here and have this conversation, and you're smiling and you're laughing and, you're really enjoying your day and what's going on in your life, because it hasn't always been this way over the last 3 years. I know that we're just passing a 3-year anniversary of the death of Kaiti. And so it's actually such a beautiful time to have you here and to share, because I know that there's a lot of emotion around this time. So can you talk with us a little bit about where you were maybe 3 years ago, just about right now?
Sure. So it's a week past the 3rd anniversary. And I was shattered. I was broken. I really don't remember too much actually about it. I had my family here taking care of me. If somebody told me to drink something, I would. If they told me to eat, I would. If they told me to, go upstairs, I would, because I was broken. I mean, it was something that I just never, ever, ever thought would happen. And you just can't prepare for it anyway.
Right.
So I was shattered. That's my best description of it.
Right. And I remember talking to you maybe a year into, your grief process. And a lot of people who are watching this don't even know what's happened to Kaiti. So we'll get into that in a minute. But I remember sharing some time with you via, I believe we were on a Skype call or something, and you were in such a different place. And so it's incredible how the human spirit has the ability to move forward despite indescribable pain. And I remember you saying to me, I really don't know how I'm going to move forward. And this was, several years ago, 2 years ago. So can you share a little bit about, what happened the night that you lost Kaiti, and then possibly some insight into this kind of grief and how you can get where you are from that night?
Sure. So I received a call in the morning on April 15th, and earlier that morning, about 2 o'clock, Kaiti and 4 of her friends were stabbed to death at a house party by someone they knew, and an acquaintance. He wasn't really a friend, and it was quick. And she and another boy didn't die instantly. They were rushed to the hospital, but didn't make it. And so we found out first thing in the morning, and I heard about it on the car ride to work, and instantly knew that it was Kaiti. But I kept driving, thinking, starting to tell myself, no, this can't be true. All the stuff that you would imagine you would say to yourself just to try and get through it. But I did receive the call at 8:30 in the morning, and sadly it was her. And that's when I really don't remember too much. We got all the information. We had a victim's assistance person come to the house. Don't know what she said. I'm sure it was very kind, but I don't know. When I say I was shattered, I was. And then, having my son there, and then my other daughter coming in. And as much as it broke my heart, just seeing them, more pain, like undescribable pain, knowing the depth of their sorrow. And here I was completely shattered and broken, but I was also their mother. And, you know, I lost a child I had no control over, and here were two more of them that were breaking apart in front of me too. So for me, it was a double whammy. And then of course I had to phone my family, and luckily enough, I have quite a few sisters. So I just phoned one and said, please, you know, and that's all I said. And then I hung up. So, and all of a sudden they were all here. They're all from different parts of Canada, and they're all here. Again, I don't remember what happened in those days. And that does just show how broken a person can get and still survive.
Right.
I wasn't consciously surviving. Like, I didn't say, I'm going to survive. You just breathe. You just breathe. One interesting thing I do remember saying to one of my sisters about a week into it, she just, you know, sat beside me and said, how are you doing? And I just looked at her and I said, you know, if I didn't have skin, I would just be all over the floor. And that's how I felt.
Wow.
It's so hard to describe to people just how broken and shattered you are. But that, and for her, she did come back to me about a year later and said, you know, when you did say that to me, it really put things, you know, put a picture, and put it into perspective. Right. So I kind of hold on to that quite often in my journey now, because I've had people phone me that I don't know, that, you know, sadly things like this happen. I get my name from a friend or a friend of a friend or the police. And it helps me remember, because there's a lot of stuff you don't want to remember in those first days, because the pain is indescribable. Right. And you can choose to stay in it, because I know some people do, that they hold on to that because that's what they had left. But for me, I had two other babies to take care of too. So, and it's a reflection of Kaiti's love to me, that I can, you know, baby steps for sure, but move forward with life. I mean, her life was cut short, and I want to honor it. And I want to do what maybe she couldn't do because it was taken from her. And, you know, one day, one day I hope she's proud.
So one of the really incredible things that I know that you did after Kaiti passed, that what I thought was so, it was just, you know, it was such a bright light amongst all of the pain, was I know that you started a foundation on behalf of Kaiti. So can you share a little bit about, you know, what inspired you and motivated you to do that in that time, and what that's brought to, you know, to you, and to help maybe some of that healing process?
I'd love to. So it began very shortly after Kaiti died. I believe it was one of my nieces that brought up the conversation. And then we as a family, Kaiti's dad, Kaiti's stepmom, her brother and sister, we sat down and thought, you know, what was Kaiti? What was she? Well, mostly, besides a great big shining light, she was a dancer. And she had decided just very shortly before she died that her career path, she thought it a little bit about going into dance as a career, but she found her passion with it, and that was going into schools to introduce dance to the younger generation and to encourage it as an activity, really. And one of her first times she went to her sister's school. Her sister is a teacher, and they got a little video clip, and it's amazing. The kids loved it. Kaiti was glowing. So because we were able to find something, you know, we just hit us. Yes, this is what we need to do. And so we got this foundation started, and each year we go through a few different schools that have to write in and tell us why it would be important for their school to be honored to receive Kaiti's grant. and we get to choose. And usually at the end of the school year, we get to go in and see them perform. And,
Oh,
you
amazing.
know, it just keeps her a little bit closer than, you know.
Right.
Nice.
I love that. What's the name of the foundation, by the way?
It's Katie Paris Love of Dance.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure to share that in the
Oh,
in the link.
thank you.
So that's,
Yeah,
you know,
that'd
and
be great.
I love the fact that you were able to honor her in that way. And it will be something that will live on for as long as you decide to have that, right? And of course, Katie would love that idea, and she would think that because it's kind of part of her dream. Her dream was to go into dance. So it's really giving her life after. So that's, you know, that's one important, I feel like that's kind of like the first important step is that, you know, that you've shared is doing something that's proactive, that continues on their memory. I know a lot of people every year on the anniversary of somebody passing, they'll have like a party, you know, and it's just a way to recognize, because I know, and you and I have talked about this, is when people pass, they're not gone, their physical body's gone, but there's so much about them that makes us who we are that we carry with us.
Exactly.
And we need to be able to express that, and we need to be able to talk about it and celebrate it and cry and laugh and all those things. So of course, this is one way that you can celebrate Katie and bring Katie present.
Yes.
So I just love that. And I think that's so beautiful. And I know that you have can you talk a little bit about your bracelet?
My bracelet that I have, yes.
I have one.
Sure. It was something that I wanted to have something to give out to people that were supporting us. I don't even know where the thought came from. I just woke up one day and thought I need to do this. So I looked online and I just ordered them, and it just says Katie with 2 hearts, and the other side it says follow your own spirit. And that was a tattoo Katie had on one of her arms. And that itself is Katie right. Those words, follow your own spirit. You know, she is such a feisty girl, and sometimes it's a little bit hard. Was a little bit hard to, you know, deal with her stubbornness type thing. But it, you know, as she grew, you just saw that that was her spirit, and she just knew really, she was strong, and she had her own thoughts and beliefs, and if she believed it, she believed it, and she did follow her own spirit, and it's beautiful. And these bracelets, you know, it's something that we can give back, or I feel like we can give back to people that, I know it's just a tiny little thing, but and then when I see people wearing them, it just touches my heart, and it's like, oh, Katie, you know, it's again, it's about taking that step. You need to find the happy. You need to find the happy. And it makes me happy to give them out and light up. You know, I give it to somebody and their face lights up, and it's just really nice.
And you know, again, it's just another thing that you did because it was going to help you in your healing. And I think it's okay to talk about the fact that we need, when we experience personal tragedy and trauma, we need to save ourselves. And my favorite quote these days, and I'm telling everybody, is save yourself before you save the world. You have to save yourself before you can save the world. And I so believe that. And, you know, doing something like this, it's great, but it's actually really great for you. It brings you so much joy to have these them on people. It's got her, you know, her tattoo. There's so much meaning there. So it's just one more thing that's like a little stitch in the healing of, you know, that loss.
That's a perfect description. It is just it's a little step, and it never has to be anything of such magnitude, because it's a healing journey, really. It's a lifelong healing journey that you need to go through, but it can be full of happiness too. And using those little steps and those little things.
Joy bubbles.
Joy bubbles, I love that. Joy bubbles.
Right? Because I know that, you know, when we're talking about grief, it's such a deep topic, you know, and when you're talking about grief, you can't just say to somebody, you'll get over it eventually, because that's not how grief works. But what you can do is you can have those little pockets of joy, right? The little joy bubbles that pop up here and there, and then they start to get larger. That grief still exists, and that longing and that sadness still is there, but the time that you can give it and the time that you can, you know, kind of move through and kind of have a new normal, because I know that you've said to me before, I'm a different person. The day that Kaiti died, I died and I became a different person. And so getting to know that new person. So how do you get to know your new person? I think that's a really thing to talk about.
Good question. For me, it's sitting. It's sitting and feeling the feelings, allowing yourself to, what's the word I'm looking for? Be real with yourself. Like you said, I really believe I died before Katie did. And I needed to find out who I was. I knew I was still mom, but my life had changed so significantly. And what purpose did I want to give it?
Right.
So for me personally, and everybody needs to find their own thing, but it's to ask myself questions. You know, is this serving me? Is this going to help my healing? Am I giving light to somebody else? Because whatever you give out, you get back. I believe that 100%. So if you want to give love and light, you're going to get love and light.
Right.
And sometimes it's a lot of darkness. It's a lot of darkness. And you need to know the darkness to see the light as well. So don't run away from the darkness. Sit with it, but don't stay, you know. And again, this is
there.
Don't unpack there, but it's a process, you know. Some days it can be 5 minutes, the next day it could be hours, you know. And you can't predict these things, but you can support yourself, you can be kind to yourself. Why was I able to do it? I don't know. I had lots of love and support. I have great friends. I met amazing people. People reached out to me that I never knew. I still don't know them, but they've reached out to me. And I have kids. And, you know, life is beautiful. And you need to fight for it. So I decided I would fight for it.
I love that. That's beautiful. Can you talk a little bit about guilt? Because I think that that's probably something that so many people who lose somebody feel. I've heard people talk about, you know, I feel guilty for enjoying.
Oh my goodness.
I feel guilty for falling in love or feeling love again or laughing. So can we talk about guilt?
Sure.
And the healing, like the healing around kind of getting over the guilt, because I think it's so important. It's such an important piece, because as a mother, right, you almost feel like it's your responsibility to be forever
grieving. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So can you talk about that?
Absolutely. Thank you actually for bringing that up, because it's huge. And having not, you know, experienced this until it happened to me, I don't think I could have ever talked about it, but it's true. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't know why this has touched me so much, but it's true, because you don't need to stay in the guilt, but you feel it. And I don't know if it's society or who it is, but it's almost like it's expected that you'll be grieving. And I am grieving in a way that I miss her. And, you know, of course, I wish it never happened. But to stay in the darkness isn't grieving to me. And that's guilt holding you down, and it's the darkness. But I understand the guilt, because I had that too. The first time I laughed out loud, which actually was only maybe like 2 or 3 days after it happened. One of my dogs did something silly, and I laughed, and I'm like, whoa, you know, like, what am I doing? Yeah.
Right.
But honestly, I did.
Right.
And, you know, and you do get funny looks, because it's, you know, I thought you're sad. Well, I am sad, but I'm still alive.
I think that's, I'm telling you.
know?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And it's so funny, because there are a lot of people around me that have lost people, especially as we get older, you know, people lose people.
Sure.
And I know that you've experienced the same. And you see them having fun. And it's so interesting. People will say, oh, well, obviously they're not grieving yet. Or they, you know, or why are they doing that? Or it's too soon or whatever. And I just think, you know, everybody's grieving process is different.
Absolutely.
And, you know, some people, they just need that. They need the joy bubbles, because when they're not in joy bubble, they're in such a dark place. And giving people permission to, you know, say, oh, I love that you're laughing. It's so great to hear you laugh. Right. I think that's so powerful. And I just think guilt really shows up. Do you have I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, or, I mean, I think it's such a big thing. You could just
it's such a big topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's a struggle to come to your own terms. And I know I keep referring back to that, but everybody's journey is their own journey. Right. And, you know, to honor them and not have judgment on them is a huge thing that I hope people that listen to this can take away from it, because you're in your own darkness as it is. And then, you know, if someone's judging you, you do. And to have that on top of it,
right?
It's not good, especially when you're in the deep throes of it. And your climb out of that dark pit is hard enough without having people pushing you back down.
Right.
So, no, you're just, you know, you still got to grieve. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Really, because you're going to grieve your whole life.
You're going to grieve your whole life. Right.
Right. So
yeah, it's kind of unset. It's like unset. It's like, I'm always going to grieve, but it's going to look different. And as time goes on, I'm going to learn to live better in my new life with that
purpose,
extraction. And now I'm going to try to fill that with maybe, you know, something else. Like, for example, the work that you're doing around the foundation, or I know that you have kind of dreams of doing more work because of your experience. And so do you believe, I know this is probably going to be a really hard question, do you believe that some good will come from this?
That is a hard question. I do understand what you're asking. So yes is my answer. Yes. Because you make that choice. You do.
Right.
It happened. Katie died. And there's nothing I could do to stop it. And there's nothing that will change that. There's nothing that will change that. Right. So then take that next step. And what can you do now?
Right.
So live with purpose. You know, and to me, that would be one good thing that came out of it.
Did you live a little bit differently
before?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I lived a pretty safe life. I, you know, did things that I didn't take a lot of risks. Let's just say I didn't challenge my fears. And that was huge, because about a year and a half ago, maybe it was 2 years, I'm not sure. I realized, wow, I survived. There is nothing that will ever happen to me again that I will have to survive.
Amen, sister.
Right?
This is like, this is it. So you can do this, you can do anything.
Absolutely. Truly. And you know, exactly. So that fear I might have of, you know, talking on stage or something, let's say, I've always been fearful of talking in front of people. Well, what's the worst that can happen to me?
Well, you're doing it right now.
Well, I'm doing it. And even then, if everybody hates it, okay, well, whatever.
Nobody will. I mean, it's just beautiful, but I understand what you're saying.
So it has changed my life. And again, that's a positive thing right there, because now I'm living a more full life.
Right.
I'm living full out.
Yes. And there has to be something in order for us to move. I believe that those two things are so connected. Because I've experienced tragedy as well, and I know that women who are watching this will have as well. And when we can't see or we choose not to see any good out of something that's so difficult and painful, then we've chosen to stay in that dark place.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean that what happened is okay. That those are two separate. It's just that, okay, it happened, like you said. So now I'm going to make this freaking worthwhile, because there has to be purpose around this in order for me to move from this dark place into this light place. And I always say, a candle shines brightest in the darkest room.
Yeah. Oh, I
right?
love that.
And so if we think about the darkest room, which is where you were, and where you often are, I'm sure there are days from time to time when you're like, oh, I can't. And then you're able to move forward emotionally or in your mind and think, wait a minute, I have to give this 100% because I can't not honor the fact that this was the hugest sacrifice I've ever made. So what can I do to make it worthwhile? Because sometimes I'm sure you're like, I don't see it. And right? Like,
I address that actually?
Yes, please.
There are days that are still like that.
Absolutely.
But I always go back to gratitude. I don't know if that sounds hokey or not, but when you can't find the purpose or the happiness of stepping forward past that darkness, there's always something to be thankful for. And some days it was just that the sun was shining. Because, for me, it's very healing to have the sunshine, and that's all I could find. But you just need to find that little bit of light,
right?
Because you know what, the next day or the next hour, or the next minute might be better,
right?
So,
I love it.
You just need to keep looking for that. And
what?
Sorry, I was going to say, and sometimes all I had was just to think of Kaiti. And that always made my heart happy. Right. I know it was a tragedy what happened to her, but when I think about her, like just her, not what happened,
right?
But her, it always made me happy. It always makes me happy still.
Yeah.
So you can find it. Just
right. Yeah. I love that. That's so beautiful. And I love the fact that we're able to have this kind of a conversation, because I know that some of the questions, I'm putting out there difficult questions, but I think that these are questions that we need to address and talk about, because people are, just shrouded in guilt, and they're so worried that if they take that guilt cloak off and they just start doing a little bit of healing, that it's going to mean something, that, and I believe that there are so many, like, women truly have the capability to change the world and to really help other women out of their darkness, and we can only do that when we start shining our light and saying, hey, I've been there. I know this pain, and it's okay. And it's everything that you're doing is okay. But it's also okay to start like grabbing at the joy bubbles a little bit, just a little bit, right? And that's what's uncommon about you. And that's what I love about you. And that's why, I always come to you and say, I want to talk to you. I want to interview you. I want to sit down with you, because you truly are, Shannon, such a bright light. And I know that you're probably a really big support system and a pillar for some of the people around you who experience this with you. And you just have the ability to, kind of do that in such a gentle way. And you probably don't even know that you do it, but I see it. I see it.
That's so sweet.
So it's really powerful.
Thank you.
No, I believe that. And I'm guessing that it's part you and part Kaiti. I mean, because Kaiti still lives within you, and, you have moved forward with her very present in your purpose. And so I believe that even just talking to you today, like, I feel her very present, and that this, follow your spirit.
Follow your own spirit.
Follow your own spirit is such a strong message. And, our spirit, if we didn't have our spirit, you wouldn't have made it through that experience, right? So really, our spirits are so much stronger than our bodies. And so it's so important to follow your spirit when that's all you have left, right?
Even in that guilt, when you're feeling that, just keep your loved one close. spiritually, or, you know,
Right.
whatever your beliefs are, but keep them close.
Yeah.
And that'll help you through it. And just know that they want you to be happy. They do. They're not telling you to stay in the darkness.
Right. No.
It's not necessary. And for people around you, let them walk with you. You know, tell them you're having a bad day, or that you need some light, or it's okay to ask for help.
Right.
Get someone that you can lean on, and maybe for those that are the person that they're been asked to be helped, maybe just know that sometimes they just need to sit beside you, you know, and feel your breath, your breathing, your calmness. You don't have to say anything. You don't have
That's
to tell them
such good advice.
Yeah, just be quiet with them and let them feel their feelings, because it's scary. It's scary to feel those feelings, but if you have someone beside you that's supportive, it just makes you a little bit stronger when you can pull from them. So,
and I think I'm really glad you touched on this before we go, because I know, and you and I have talked about this, that people don't know what to say.
oh yeah.
So sometimes they don't say anything. And can you just talk about that quickly before we go, about the importance of people keeping Kaiti alive and, you know, and having those conversations?
Right. For me, it's the best thing. If you want to talk about my kids, absolutely. Talk about any one of them. I love it. I still love it. Even, you know, it doesn't matter that Kaiti died. I still love talking about her.
Right.
It gives us permission to be able to talk, because nobody wants to have those conversations. They know how sad you are. They know how that it may upset you, but it might upset me, but it makes me happy. And it gives you permission if you ask questions, and if you don't turn away if I mention her. So be open to listen to the people that have lost someone. And again, it's not always about saying something. Sometimes it's just about you being present. And it might be on the telephone, and you just let them talk.
Right.
But you're
or
there.
Just sit in silence. Like, I know that you said there was a conversation one time where you didn't have a conversation. Wasn't when your sister called you,
right.
You literally just kept her on the phone. You just need to know that you're not alone.
That's right. I was breaking down that day, and she didn't say anything. I could hear her breathing. That's it. We probably did that for about 20 minutes until I could, you know, catch my breath, and it was all good.
And you know, we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because grief is something that is uncomfortable, right? Our bodies everything about our physicality changes when we're grieving. Our bodies are not comfortable in grief. So getting comfortable in that discomfort is so important. Like sitting on the phone with somebody in silence. We don't have to say anything, because we're always chatting. And how can I help? How about just getting quiet, which might feel uncomfortable, but it's really working. And it's better to be uncomfortable than to be comfortable and to have what you're trying to do work the opposite, which is possibly say too much, or just, I need you to be quiet, but I need you present. Can you do that? Right?
Absolutely. 100%.
That's super important.
And if you don't know what to say, then don't say anything at all.
Right.
But be present.
Right. Exactly.
That's
well,
important.
This has been such an honor having you here. I mean, I think, wow, that was a really good conversation. And I feel like the things that you are saying are the things that people might need to hear, because the Uncommon Woman as a platform truly is to help other women see that their struggle can turn into their strength, you know, and we really want to save a life or save a soul here. So I hope today that we reached one woman, one person who's grieving or who's feeling pain can step out and go, okay, you know what? I can do another day. I can do another week. You know, I'll order the armbands. I'll do whatever. Yeah, but I'll do whatever I need to do. Because sometimes I think we have ideas, great ideas. We go, that's silly. Nobody's going to want that. And then we don't do it. And you did it, and look how great it is.
Yeah.
You know, I have mine in I love my little bracelet that you gave me, and it's special to me. I should have worn it today. I didn't even think of that. But I just love having it because it means something to me, because it means something to you. So it's not silly.
Yes.
And so there's nothing silly around any of this stuff. We need to just do what we need to do to feel good.
That's right. Take that little step. You can.
Right, exactly.
Well, thank you, Marla.
So much, Shannon, for being on here today and for sharing your story. And Is it okay if somebody was to really be moved by your story for them to contact you in some way? Do you have some way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you share how they can contact you? I would love that.
Sure. You can contact me on Facebook, just Shannon Miller on Facebook. You can contact me through my email if you want to send an email, or my telephone. I get texts all the time from people. Just make sure you say a little blurb of who you are.
Who you are, right? I'm a stranger.
So I can give you that information if you want.
Okay.
Contact you.
Great.
I'm very open. I had a couple people reach out to me and it saved me, honestly. So I just want to give back to the same.
Right.
You know, I can listen. I'm a pretty good listener.
Oh, you are.
So.
Well, make sure that all of your information is in the comments so that people can connect with you.
Okay. Perfect.
Have a great day. Thank you so much. Love you, sister.
Too. Love you too. Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for spending this sacred time with us and honoring the incredible women who have stepped forward with courage and confidence to share their stories with you and with the world. If you loved this episode, we would really appreciate it if you would share it with somebody that needs this message today. Also, please leave a comment. Let us know how the story has impacted your life or resonated with your soul. You can connect with us at theuncommonwoman.com, on Facebook at www.facebook.com/theuncommonwoman/ or on Instagram at theuncommonwoman. Again, my name is Marlo Ellis, Freedom Coach for Women and founder of The Uncommon Woman. And I want to thank you so much for being with us today. And until next time, take care.